The broken legs guy basically went clubbing, and I think he actually might have said this. Hey, I'm out clubbing talking to you. Just imagine how much better I'd be with 2 working legs. Tells me that it works. It tells me it works several times, bastard. So the Bowerbirdy thing, it's all about status. It's about, it's deeper than simply I've got bigger stuff than you. It runs at a very basic biological level. You can pick holes in this argument, but there is definitely key elements of it. This is taken straight from the book because I was in a hurry. People will pay for status, for emotions, for feelings. Some people like me will pay because I haven't got 60 hours to be better than that 12-year-old kid in Nebraska, and I'd rather be able to bait him by just spending more money than he's got. People will pay to fit in, to stand out. Look at me with my big swords. This one is brilliant. Fit in and stand out. I think there's a relatively young audience here, so you might be thinking about emos. I would be thinking about goths. I don't know if you think they all stand out. They all look the bloody same. It's identical. The thing that they're doing is fitting in and standing out. The tribal nature of it is kind of important. And this one for the guild, we talked about hazing earlier. If you're a guild who says, if you want to join my guild, you've got to buy purple virtual items. Green ones, blue ones, yellow, vermilion. The developer loves it because they just have identical items in hundreds of different colours. The guild likes it because somebody's had to spend cash in order to join their guild. Remember the hazing point? So they must think it's a really good guild to join, otherwise you wouldn't have spent the money. And what happens if it's not a good join, a guild, they change their perception. It must be a good guild because I paid $20 for it. It's not a free guild, it's a $20 guild. So that's a really, really interesting development technique. Persuade your guild masters to become your biggest pimps. Building friendships, flirting, all that kind of stuff, all of this stuff kind of matters. I promised I'd talk about something other than games. So here we go. What happened to music? What happened to music was this. 9% of users are freeloaders. They don't want to pay anything. 10, not even true fans, big fans, they pay $100. Do the maths of that. You know, basically, if you say that an album price is $10, 9% nothing, 10 paying $100, you make the same amount of money. Of course, that's not what the music industry did. The music industry said you can only pay $10. There's a power law. Everybody from here along pirated. These people would spend $100. You only let them spend 10. Practical upshot, your revenues fall by 90%. And they didn't bloody need to. It's just such a shame. There was no mechanism for whales or high rollers or true fans or whoever to pay how to make this work. And if you just look at that, you just go, okay, to be fair, I have quite a lot of hindsight advantage here. But can you just see, looking at that, you go, if only we'd understood that, the record industry didn't need to be in terminal decline. It couldn't recover. The interesting thing is that it's bands and managers who are making this recover, not labels, and I'm not sad about that at all. Labels are going to die. Bands and managers are waking up. 9 Inch Nails over there, there's a bunch of different ways. A $300 album on day one. On the same day, they released the same album for free. Digital download. Yeah, just either. The first 2,500 people only, those were the people who would have been first in line queuing around the block in order to buy the thing and giving HMV $10. And now, via the web, directly, they're giving 9 Inch Nails $300, and they're not feeling ripped off. Quite the reverse. They're feeling special and looked after and happy. And he made $750,000 from I mean, okay, there's some production value costs in that, but I don't know very much about records. $50, I'd be surprised, is the cost of that. So that's a $250 profit on that stuff for giving true fans stuff they really, really, really want. OK Go sells the USB of the gig you've just been to as you're walking out of the door. That, to me, is $25 incredibly well spent. And previously, the model would have been, here's the album, here's next year's album, here's the following year's album, here's my last year's album, that's how much you can spend. Oh, and here's a live gig we happened to do in Mannheim last year. Nowhere near as valuable as saying, here's the gig you went to. This is special to you. And they can sell this one to every single person who goes to their gig. So they've spent $60 for the ticket, another $25, ka-ching, thank you very much. U2 did a self-indulgent coffee table. Mos Def's my favourite one. He sells a t-shirt for $40. The t-shirt has the album on the front, the track listing on the back, and a code to download the album for free. He couldn't sell the album because people would just pirate it. But he can sell a t-shirt which says, status-wise, I like Mos Def enough to have spent money on his album. That's what the t-shirt's basically saying. I am a fan of Mos Def. He lets those same people get the game. Those same people could get the album for free. But he kind of goes, here you go, buy a t-shirt, $40. He's selling a t-shirt instead of an album. And what he's targeting is the right-hand end of that kind of power law. So if we think about the whole media industry, games and elsewhere, I was hoping to do a bit more telly, but I frankly found it really, really hard to work out how telly's going to make this work. In fact, I'm going to go back and do something which I was going to write up in a blog post, but I haven't done yet. ITV, Apple's television station. Apple's television station is going to take the price of TV programmes down to the lowest common denominator, because that's what they did for games, 99 cents. The true fans will be able to get the same thing, which they used to buy in DVD for lots of money, for 99 cents. And the TV industry, trying to look at this new distribution, is going to look at this and go, they're going to miss this, unless they hire me and pay me lots of money to tell them it, and go, what we need to do is allow 10% of those Apple TV people to spend $100 on our stuff. How the bloody hell are we going to do that? I have no idea. I have genuinely no idea. But what I do see is going to happen is that the Apple TV stuff is going to reduce the standard price for a TV show down to 99 cents an episode. It's going to drive the price right down. And what you're not going to do is have any mechanism of reaching the, not in the current structure, any free-to-play plus premium upsell model like NG Moco has done with games for TV. If you can think of that, that's the crowdsource thing. If you can think of that, I'll be very grateful. I'll buy you a pint, because I'll make lots of money from that knowledge. So that's probably not the world's best negotiating strategy I just did there. Right, one-size-fits-all pricing is dead. All customers are not created equal. This end of the chain, and there's I moved this line here huge amounts of times when I was drawing this chart, because I'm not sure where you decide not to bother. You certainly don't bother trying to charge here, because they won't pay. But do you bother trying to charge when they'd pay a bit? Or do you, as Chris said, go, that's too frictionful. It's not frictionless enough. If those people aren't sufficiently committed to want it, I want to get them inside my tent as quickly as possible, then I can upsell. On the up end, it's the revenue opportunity. And we're already seeing that. I ought to know how many units Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 has sold. I certainly know, because Ian said it yesterday, 20 million map packs at $15 each. That's at that end of the scale, not at this end. I don't think it's that long before publishers start thinking about giving away, at least giving the retailer all of the margin for a boxed product in order to make all of the money from the DLC from these people. And before they buy it, they don't know who these people are. They have to get people into their funnel to work out who's going to become a king or a lord or something else. And I just gesticulate so hard I flung my microphone around. I think I did. One-size-fits-all pricing is dead. Can I find it? No, it's still there. Good. Final mythbuster, free players are freeloaders. This is not true. Free players are insanely important. They are almost the most important people in your business. Why? Because until you have free players, you don't know who your whales are. So the most important thing they are is potential converts. You should be watching them and treating them extremely well. I disagree that demos are coming back. I think free-to-play is going there because of this. Well, look, I'm clearly biased. I'm an evangelist for this new kind of world of free-to-play, but there you go. Free players are eyeballs for advertising. The advertising model, I think, is moving away from brand-building CPA deals to lead generation brand-building CPM deals, cost per 1,000 impressions, to cost per acquisition. And I think you can do really interesting lead gen deals at its basic level. On a free-to-play Wii Fit, you could imagine selling subscriptions to gyms or stuff like that. And people pay you $10, and they will be doing their own power law kind of analysis to how much they'll pay you. They're influencers. Some people who play your game for a very, very long time and never spend a dime with you are also the people who talk about it and tell their friends about it and bring people in. So influencers are incredibly powerful for reducing your cost of customer acquisition. And gawkers, finally. We talked about status, we talked about other things. It is my contention that the engineers at Ferrari could make their cars quieter and less yellow if they wanted to. But they don't. They choose to they don't make them as loud as possible, they make them as distinctive as possible. They do that thing. I'm not really interested in cars, but my head turns when certain cars go down the street. There's a noise and an aura around them, which they spend a lot of money perfecting, which makes me gawk. And the guy driving it goes, look at me. Like I'm a bowerbird with my Ferrari, look what I can do. You can't get people to spend big status items unless there's a whole bunch of people around them who go, wow, you've got a big status item. They don't even need to say it. The person just has to have this feeling there are tens of thousands of people looking at them. Every single player has value, and even if you can't make any direct money, if they're a peasant forever, if they never click on any ads, if they never sign up for anything, if they never tell anybody else about it, they're still valuable for persuading that one guy to spend $50,000 on a piece of Kevlar. I'm running a tiny bit out of time. Just to give you one other quick thought, total theory here. Big Point sells galleons in one of its games, Sea Fight, for $1,000. My theory, and I'm making some of this up here, is that they used to sell, this isn't true, $10 pinnaces and $100 frigates. And everybody went, you know what, $100 for a frigate, that seems a bit expensive. I'll buy the $10 pinnace. And then they added the $1,000 thing. And because humans are rubbish at knowing what the value of something is, you had $10 cheap, $100 expensive. Now you have $10 cheap, $1,000 expensive, and $100 pretty reasonable. And that just changes people's purchase behaviour. And what's really interesting, given the power law thing, is that I think this is true. A VC asked them, this is about a year ago, how many galleons have you sold? They said, not very many, only 800. And you go, yeah, you're right. So $800,000 for something which took one artist 2 days. You know, it's kind of pretty good. But its purpose, I believe, and I don't know this because I haven't asked Big Point, was not to sell the galleon. The purpose of the galleon was to sell the frigate. So another way of thinking about changing how you structure your pricing. So I'm going to do a though experiment. I'm going to do a though experiment. Who remembers Morph? Are we just a too young a crowd? Good. Okay, so Morph, take heart. He's a character. I've got the IP. That's not true. I've got the IP and I want to make a game with it. This would be the business model. Make an iPhone app, offer a light version of the 99-cent game. This is my alternative business model. Make it free. Anybody can do it. And the only business model is that there are 1,000 limited edition signed prints of Morph, which we advertise heavily, which we sell for $1,000. I picked this one because a friend of mine has just bought a £950 signed limited edition print of Morph. If we get a 0.1 conversion rate, 0.1% conversion rate, we get the same revenue. Actually, we get more because we don't have to give Apple that 30%. It's a free app. Now, here's a question, because I genuinely don't know this. This is not a pejorative one. Who prefers business model 1? And then I'll ask you who prefers business model 2. So hands up, who prefers business model 1? Okay, we're getting some people. I'm expecting quite a lot of fence sitters, so try and be brave. Business model 2? Okay. I'm pleased. I did better on this one than I did on the debate yesterday. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. But the interesting thing is if you've got an innovative kind of Morph person, I think this would be a really, really interesting experiment to try. If the Morph guys would let you not pay in advance and give it a go and see what happens, I think that's a really, really interesting alternative. You will get a lot more games played in this model, I believe, which means that you can fiddle with this conversion rate. You can fiddle with this price point. You can say, right, first 1,000 gone, here's a different limited edition Morph print, of which I now happen to have another 1,000. The limited edition, by the way, is entirely artificial scarcity. It doesn't exist. We just decided it's 1,000, not 500 or 3,000. We can do as many as we bloody like. You can't, having said it's exclusive and limited edition, change your mind. You then have to change the product. But that is the heart of what I'm talking about, Wales, power laws, and the future of media. So, I think we're coming to the end. I think I've got 2 more slides. The era all users are the same is over. Music industry suffered the tsunami first, and I think that, I believe I've now given one of the best reasons of why. Blockbuster games may survive, but I personally believe the tent poles, which people are referring to, I think they probably will. I was slightly stating an argument more strongly than I believe it yesterday. But only quadruple A will cut it. The middle tier is not going to survive against free-to-play. And other games will need to adapt to the power law. I think TV's in real trouble. I can't, in my head, yet, and maybe I'm just not clever enough, work out how TV can harness the power of the wallets of their 10% of true fans over and above letting them buy DVDs in boxes, which is a bit dull and not very interesting. There must be something cleverer, and I was hoping I'd have come up with it, but I've been trying for 6 weeks and haven't succeeded yet. My advice, if you don't have a way for Wales to spend unlimited amounts of cash, you're stuffed. I said trouble here, you're totally stuffed. Look after those whales, make sure they're happy. Look after your freeloaders, because they are all potential whales. All your users are not equal. And this is my final endpoint, which I really want developers in the room to kind of take. Sales, marketing, and revenue generation, they are creative things now. Look at that slide of what the record industries did. That's not their label coming with it, that's the artist doing it. In this new world, how you offer your fans things they want and want to give you money for is creative. It's part of the creative process. Don't throw away all this stuff to publishers. Have fun doing it. Have fun, in bold. Offering your customers what they want, which is cool and fun, and you'd like if you were them, is fun. Have fun making it happen.